Emergency video. I repeat, emergency video at long last, kings. Baldo Man has broken his silence on streaming for a Hugbox cope session. And I took notes during this so we can get a proper rundown. But first, we must cover the hours preceding this. Nick went on a Twitter cope streak with an extra side of felted that resulted in the freeze peach-loving libertarian who doesn't think blocking people should be done in blocking numerous people because they refuse to see his warped version of reality. He also apparently took over Hot Wife April's Twitter, changed it to April Law, and began having a tirade on both accounts. This full-blown autistic decision was then followed by a promise to stream in the Hugbox, which he did. At 2 in the morning U.S. Central Time. Thankfully, the worst niche shitposting channel on YouTube, me, was up for it along with numerous others to bask in the cope he wanted to unleash. So on to the main attraction. He started his cope out by saying anyone who doesn't like him are nerds. He never should have been interacting with these people to begin with and should unironically be beaten to death. He's also gotten gratification from blocking these people and will continue to block them, which conflicts with his apparent humiliation fetish. He also states he's a nerd, but a cool nerd, unlike the nerds he blocked, and that should be punched in the face and shoved in lockers. These are quite inflammatory statements to make. It surely must mean that his fans definitely aren't. Oh. Well, this is quite awkward. See? Maybe it's just a mistake. Oh well, anyway, he once again proclaimed that Sean is a fat loser who pretends that he's cool, would need to use 2 loaves of bread to make a sandwich for him, as Nick himself was making a sandwich and like 4 packs of fucking ramen during this statement. But also Sean is so fat that he'd have to be shoved into a dumpster because he can't fit into a locker. Oh, and he also paints gay model planes and is fat. Sean is fat, guys. Did he tell you that yet? Back on track, though, as he states, none of his so-called friends ever really cared because they had the audacity to be upset that he got charged with drug possession and neglecting his children and the later positive drug test for the 9-year-old. Nor is he afraid of anyone anymore because they can't take his kids. The evil government already did, Nick, so clearly you do have people to be afraid of. He then dunked on legal dick sucker, lazy eye, and noticeable limp. He also said his hair isn't that great, while we have proof of Nick losing his hair at a quick pace, so he would be a knowledgeable source on that, at least. Somehow, after all that, he states that he is fun, always has been fun, and will only talk to the people he wants to in his chat, but will not be helpful. There was only 85 people there with 10 different people talking the whole time, so you can imagine how helpful he was, exactly. Notable appearances came from Jim Satala, a lawyer possibly more delusional than Barnes in that he thinks the charges are not only not going to stick, but that anyone who has made fun of Nick will be sued for defamation. Jim definitely hasn't seen how well that worked for Patrick Tomlinson, but okay. Ryan, the editor, was also there being fucking useless because he has nothing to do for Nick, but he needs to maintain appearances. There was also the obligatory question of when he will do trial streams, with the answer being, I only want trials that will interest me and bring in a profit, which again contradicts previous statements that he was never a law channel and that he would profit off his own lull suit. Speaking of that, he stated that he's unaware of the status on it and states it was a waste of his time. If it was a waste of time, why did he hire Randazza and throw so much money at it to fight it relentlessly? And staying with wastes of time, he states the Barnes Walker is not filing the motions Nick wants to be filed or doing anything competently, which includes the appeals, which Nick stated is for losers, in spite of the fact he's filed multiple appeals. Lightning round, because this is becoming ridiculously fucking long as is. He admitted to doing a mountain of cocaine, but just not as a 12-year-old to help his restless leg syndrome. Kandiyohi County only has 1 drug testing facility, and he believes it affected his drug tests that he said he couldn't schedule himself, despite him scheduling it himself after bonding out. He also expanded it to the 9-year-old's cocaine test and has a trump card to render it useless in court. Nick and Drexel, among others, haven't spoken to Nick in a long time, but he wants to talk to them again, but they haven't talked to him, so he won't talk to them. If that sounded retarded, that's because it legitimately is. Vic Mignogna was also bundled into that, which good fucking luck with that one. He coped about Pomplin not viewing his original stream, and they never sent him a copy despite Nick being in possession of the original stream and not sharing it or possibly deleting it and as such destroying evidence. Somewhere within all of this, he stated he needs to be mindful of what he's saying on stream so it won't be used in court when you can go back and listen to what he said prior on Twitter and the stream. He doesn't understand how him being high on cocaine relates to a drug possession charge, says the sheriff's report, and Alicia Sweep's reports on the house and kids were falsified. The pastor who heard reports on the kids was given falsified and out-of-context reports. Stop me if you've heard this, but the pastor also never talked to him, but could have and never did, which makes him a horrible fucking person and pastor. Pastors aren't also experts on the Bible, apparently, which I imagine PPP will have thoughts on this. He misses whiskey, wishes he can have it, but can't, allegedly. And it won't ever return to the show because Drunk Nick shows sucked and he's so in control of his withdrawals that he's hitting weed vapes. To cap this long-winded fucking section off, he, the law pope, hates internet communities, including the Dabbleverse, which he states is filled with just a bunch of fucking pathetic nobodies, and also LawTube swears he's going to return to YouTube and not Rumble, even though they're days away from getting a contract signed, and he'll reveal the truth there on everything and about the clout goblin's dirty secret, and that to not believe anything you see Minnesota Public Records posts. Now, with that mountain of information presented to all three of you, we're going to get Nickerlicious.
Baldonatics, I'd like to thank all of you once again for waiting for me to rise for a third time. I'm already lapping Jesus, who only has risen once, so I am once again quite literally better than Jesus. The prude incel nerd pastor doesn't know jack or shit about the Bible. I have memorized every line and have interpreted it to completely benefit me at any given moment during any possible situation. It doesn't matter I got kicked out of my church for the cover or my very public arrest, and they still don't have proof the coke was mine. Was I high on cocaine? Yes, but was it mine? I don't know. I was too high on cocaine to understand where I was and why those ungrateful assholes called my children couldn't have just done all the laundry that was laying around and cooked their own food for me so I could keep hooking up with our wife in April. TMF Squid, who looks like a fucking nerd, wants to know where our wife is. I don't know, and I quite frankly don't give a shit. She could be trapped in the Baldo factory that's conveniently located near my home on Google Maps for all I care, and can stay there involuntarily. I just want to spend my time now lying to whoever is left to listen to me and false flag every channel that posts what I say out of context. And just in case Alyssa Clips is listening.
Alyssa has always had and will always have my permission to clip the show, to clip the local streams, whatever she deems will be a good clip.
And don't you forget it. I won't tolerate these niggers sullying the good name of the law pope. And God, I fucking hate the law tube. Not a single one of these charlatans besides Barnes has offered to help me. And the most he did was send me a glorified retard who won't follow my elite legal counsel. I keep saying I don't want to appeal by filing appeals to him, which makes him think I want to appeal. What's so hard to grasp? My youngest could figure that out while she's making beef Wellington with a homemade demi-glace for my entire family. I even told this to my 3 totally real therapists who I adamantly told that I am happy with myself, don't need to change, and have never made any drastic pivots, despite doing so after returning from a Jamaican swingers resort in August of 2022. But there is one thing I have taken accountability for, is my drinking on stream and not joining Melanie Mack on her stream. In that, I should have drank even more on stream and asked Melanie to join me and the artist, formerly known as our wife, in the original cover. But I'm quite content with April. And the kids will embrace their new mother, or else Patrick can come take them for re-education purposes. But that's all the time we have for this week. I need to hit up my coke guy turned weed guy for another fix. remember to keep harassing Rumble so that they give me a new contract so I don't have to return to YouTube like I said I would. And as always, I fucking hope Kobe gets cancer